Hello and welcome, my fellow buckaroos, to a little game I like to call Red Dead Online. The only game where it is socially acceptable to carry a firearm around town and tie your wife up, burn her alive, and sell her cooked corpse to the local butcher. Ha ha ha, guys. Anyways, today I will be playing with my good friend Ronnie. I have been advised to call my friend Mike, as he doesn't like that name. I will instead be calling him random names throughout this video, so you're very welcome, Josh. When I spawned in, I quickly walked towards my free horse named Scrawny Nag. That was my nickname for my ex-wife, so thanks for reminding me, Rockstar. A little while later, Kingsley showed up and we immediately attempted to kill each other like good friends do. It took a bit, but we realized that we couldn't shoot each other, but we could lasso each other, so I gave my friend a pretty good ride in the Rocky Hills, and I'm pretty sure I gave him brain damage, but it's all in good fun. We eventually started to realize that we were wasting our good outlaw life, and while I was checking the menu, Cornelius decided to shoot me one too many times, and I got slightly frustrated and blew open his skull. After our slight scuffle, we decided to go to town, as there was nothing else to do, and maybe we'd be able to meet fellow outlaws like ourselves. I got lost in a gorge halfway through, but we managed to get into town a while later. You will never know my disappointment when the sign showed up and said the town was named Tumbleweed. Still better than Rock. Anyways, I went into town center and talked to this weird guy named Butcher. He was pretty scary with his name, but I got a couple bucks off of some random things that count as meat, like a raven feather or maybe a poor squirrel carcass. I should have saved them for tasty treats for when the going gets tough. After I was done selling stuff, we saw another player. I wanted to kill, so I shot him. Turns out the town doesn't like people like me, so me and Pedro got into a massive shootout in the town square. These people are kind of aggressive. While my friendo was fighting them, I decided to pickpocket a few of the dead corpses. After all, if I'm going through all this work, why shouldn't I get paid? Me and Bartholomew were about to leave when I got greedy and headed back to try to get some more money. It was then where I got one shot by a Crip. I guess he thought I was a blood, and I thought we should talk it out. It turns out they didn't want to talk, but instead wanted to keep killing me. So I got into a massive shootout outside town with a few of the remaining locals. During this, I got killed by another buckaroo. I'm starting to think that these people didn't like me. I got kinda mad when I realized this, so I killed some random person's horse and had to pay a veterinary fee of $4. In this economy, I snuck back into town and decided to buy some ammo. In the list they said that they were selling cocaine. What a steal! Turns out it was just gum, so I got ripped off. I was mad at how much life sucked, so I started up another mass shooting in Tumbleweed and got shot to death another time. I needed a new change of pace. So me and Habibi decided to leave town forever and went to this weird wheel thing that let us go anywhere. We decided to go to Valentine since that seemed pretty swag. In a matter of about 5 seconds, we had traveled 50 miles. And the place looked much nicer, considering there was actually grass. Now I can tell all those meanies online that I do indeed touch grass. And all I can do is thank Red Dead Online for fulfilling this lifelong dream of mine. Anyways, me and Jamal decided to check out the farm. And speaking of farm, this reminds me of the time my family decided to go to a horse race, and we had these deluxe passes. So after the race, we were able to go to a specific horse and pet him. I have no idea how it happened, but the horse ended up sitting down right on my face, and no one was able to get it up for 4 hours. and I had a face full of his beans and his franks for more than I am comfortable to admit. I have been in therapy for 6 years because of this, but sometimes you just gotta get back up, you know? Anyways, I called my ex-wife Scrawny Neg, and she showed up in less than 10 seconds, even though she was 50 miles away. You might say that the horse is a he and not a she, because it has a ball sack, but don't worry, my ex-wife also had one, so we're good. Alright, like I was saying, I got on my trusty steed and we both headed into the hills to search for animals. Why? Because we could sell their fur and carcasses to make a living, just like I did in the beginning of the video. I know, I'm just like that. You don't need to applaud me. We basically decided to do this the whole day, and it was kinda boring. Except for when you had to skin the thing you just killed, and you basically disembowel the animal. That's my favorite part. It started giving me some good ideas for if I could sell humans, so to speak. Or maybe specifically, my wife. Just a thought. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, but Philip just rips a bunny in half for its fur. What the hell? This is just animal cruelty. Anyways, we got enough meat and fur to go to the butcher and get enough money to fuel our alcohol addiction, as one does. And I got a nice crisp $5 bill in return. Alright, I'm sorry, I'll stop doing that. But when we were done, a fella passed by us. And since I didn't learn the first time, I decided to shoot him just because I could. This turned out to be the biggest mistake of my pitiful life. Me and Jebediah thought he might attempt to chase us, so we ran into the woods thinking we were so cool. Little did we know, we didn't just have a pest on us, we had a gun! Deeper in the forest we went, and I pulled out my rifle in case something bad might happen. Turns out something did, because Bob got shot at and I ran over to investigate. Just like everybody else, he one-shot me before I even knew what was happening. This death screen still gives me PTSD. What happened was the next 10 minutes of the most agonizing firefight I have ever been in. Just kidding, it wasn't a firefight, it was instead a fight for survival, as he kept hunting me down for funsies. Kind of like Los Angeles. Anyways, after I contemplated ending it all, I shot an animal and realized what I was supposed to be doing, making a living. So I hunted a few animals and was gonna sell it to a butcher when I noticed him on a horse. I shot him multiple times, but it turned out to be Gus, so I felt kinda bad. After this terrible mishap, I decided to go over there and kill a bunch of random guys on horses? I can't even put this in a story, this is just confusing. Anyways, after that super confusing not-so-plot twist, I found myself reunited with Jerry again. I decided to pretend that I have lived in Valentine my entire life, so at 3 in the morning, I decided to check to see if I finally got the court date. I didn't, but it's more crazy that the postal worker is still up at this hour chugging away. Mad respect. When I left, I got a notie on Snapchat saying I could do a live event. I decided to click yes, because why not? And also because I may or may not have wanted to get away from 1960s Coca-Cola bottle. This turned out to be the second biggest mistake of the playthrough. Essentially, in this game, you had to have a bag of money and hold on to it as long as possible to score points. And I think that's how it goes, because I didn't even get close, as I got repeatedly railed into the ozone layer. I have 10 minutes worth of clips of just me struggling for survival, but I'll only show you the death screens. It was at this point where I didn't really know what to do anymore, since it kind of felt like I had already done everything there was to do in Red Dead Online. I felt like I had to make amends though, so I decided to teleport all the way back to Tumbleweed to make amends with the townsfolk. It was still nighttime when I got there, and I checked on my player, and as you can see, his name is Keep Yourself Safe. It was originally gonna be PP Man, but the game said it was too vulgar, so I instead named him this. If you know, you know. Anyways, I decided to head down to the saloon to forget everything that had happened a little while prior, and this is when I remembered a little story. So basically, me and my mom decided to go to Petco to check out the cats and see what kind of food there was, when some random person busted through the front door with a furry costume and a gun, asking where all of the food in the store. What a glutton. We were in danger, but that's when I remembered the 50 cal I always had strapped to my leg, and I sent him to the dog pound, guys. Sadly though, this time around, I was the one who died. I haven't really talked about Weaponized Battle Toaster, because it's mostly just me going off on my own and dying. I'm pretty sure he disliked that, because he said he would be going on one last hunting mission, then he would put me 6 feet under. Whatever that means. And so we hopped on our horses, mine being my good old scrawny nag, and booked it into literally the edge of civilization. Oh, and don't ask about why there's a dead corpse on the back of my ex-wife. We just got into a little bit of a scuffle. While I was shooting the dead guy in the head, my big ol' friendo decided it was a really neat idea to shoot Scrawny Nag in the forehead, killing the big girl immediately. I was a little peeved at him, so I shot his head off. A bit later, we decided to try this cool last-minute standoff again, and so I cowered in the corner while he aimed at me with his lever action. I secretly resurrected Scrawny Nag back to life though, and I ran over to triumph over Ronald, or whatever his name was. He shot her immediately. I got kind of mad, so I pulled out a knife and kicked him for some reason. He responded by pushing me to the ground and slitting my throat.